this is Dee from crystalcraftswithdee. I have a project that I'm going to do today in the theme of Halloween. Halloween is right on our doorstep, and I wanted to do something to hang up using my leftover drills. So what I've done is I've got all my bits and pieces together, and I'm going to take you through what I'm doing and how I do it, and hopefully it'll all work out in the end. So first up, I got my sign from Kmart. It was only like $2 or something, and it came unpainted. So it came like that, and I have painted the top. So I'll show you what I used in the used to do that. So I've got my sign, I've got double-sided tape, I have my paints, which I used to paint that, and I have lots and lots of leftover drills. So I'm going to be using the crystal rhinestone drills on this project, which I've got gazillion loads. So that's all you sort of really need. Now with the sign, I've gone ahead and painted it, and you can use whatever colors you want. I've just done like orange, yellow, purple, and then I thought I might throw some green in there as well. So as I said, it came like that, and I've just painted it very roughly. It doesn't need to be painted beautifully or anything like that, because your drills will be going on top. And all I used was acrylic paints that were leftovers from my paint by numbers. I just painted them straight like that, so too easy. Took me 5 minutes and it's done. And I've just put that aside and let that dry, and now it is ready to go. So I have that, and I have my double-sided tape. Now normally when I do these sorts of projects, I get my double-sided tape in A4 sheets, and they haven't come in yet. So I do have gazillion loads of double-sided tape on the roll. You can use that too, and come to think of it, it's probably better because the writing, you can play around with it a bit more with your roll of tape. And this is just a very easy project to do. You just paint that, slap the tape on, slap your drills on, you're done. So I've just used, this is again from Kmart. It's pretty cheap, works really good actually. So I have my sign, I have my tape, and I have my leftover rhinestones. So you know, you can really go to town with this. I'm just going to use just your normal rhinestones, but with all these little shapes and stuff like that, you can do a whole bunch of your larger rounds, or you could do, you know, a whole bunch of marquees. It really doesn't matter, whatever, you know, whatever you feel like doing. I have some of my crystal rhinestones in here, separated by colors, so I'll be using those. Now the beauty about this is, whoops, now they're all falling out. Beauty about this project is that you don't need to have the exact same shade of color to do your lettering. So if you only have dribs and drabs, like a little bit of this yellow, a little bit of that yellow, a little bit of this darker yellow, it doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is just get a tray, put the 3 different yellows in there, give them a, you know, mix up, and then just sort of slap them on there. So instead of just using the one color and it being obvious that you've run out and that yellow is different to that yellow, it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to mix them up anyway, and that way it just sort of gives it more of a sort of 3D effect, I suppose. And it uses up those little dribs and drabs. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm just going to sort through and find out all my yellows. Like there's a teeny bit of yellow there. So I'm just going to go through and have all my colors in sections, and then I'm going to get started. So with your double-sided tape, it's so easy to put down. All I'm going to do is just slap it right down, if I can get it like in the middle, like that. And because the bat is there, I'm going to go all the way down to the bat, and then sort of, you can crisscross and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't really matter. Now, because you will have gaps in between your drills and it will be hanging up, there's going to be, you know, dust and fluff and that sort of thing that can get into it. So I will also be sealing it when I'm finished. So I'm not concerned if there's gaps visible that I haven't filled on the tape. So anyway, that is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to put the tape on there and I'm going to get started with the drills. So I will do that and then I will come back and show you how I go from there. Okay, so I've got some of my drills together. So I've got like these little bits here. This is what I was talking about, your dribs and drabs. So I'm just going to mix that in with, like I got some dark orange and some medium orange, and I'm just going to mix it in with some of them just to kind of use that little bit up. So that's my orange. I've gone through, I've got my yellow and my purple and so on. So it's, you know, I'm not concerned that the shades are slightly different. It doesn't really matter. That's why it's perfect for this sort of project. So I've got those colors together, and then I've got, now my camera is going to bounce a little bit because of the tripod, so I apologize. So what I think I might do is just apply some double-sided tape to the T and to the, maybe the O. We'll do some purple and yellow. And I'll show you how I get started with that. So like I said, I've got my double-sided tape and I'm just going to run that down, sort of down there, and I'm going to cut it. Sorry about the wobble. So I'm just going to pop her like that. So the bits that sort of hang over the edges, I'm not really worried about because I can go back later and trim them. So that's easy done. Oops, sorry, bouncing everywhere. And then I'm just going to go straight down the middle of the T. And across. And I'm going to go across the top. Oops, not like that. Just going to go across the top like that. Okay, so it's pretty rough, but it does the job, and I can always fix it later. And I've just, let me get him off there first. So it doesn't matter if you overlap. If I can get it off. So I'll do the T first. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you overlap because it's not going to make any difference to how you place your drills. I can't get it off. Got it. Okay, so you can see the overlap there. I don't worry about that because I'm going to get the scissors and I'll trim that afterwards. So that's not really a concern of mine. I have my tray and I'm just going to mix some of these drills in together. Alright, so I'm just going to plug them in there. And plunk the other one in there. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a mix. And then I'm going to start with a T. So I have my beautiful floral diamond painting pen that I got from DIY Digital Art. I just love this pen. It is so pretty. It's a little bit heavier than my other one that it's you know, the same sort of shape. A little bit heavier, a little bit bigger, but yeah, it's so comfortable. It's like the best pen. I love it. All right, I'll bring you over here. And then all I'm going to do is just start placing drills. So one thing is, when you're doing this sort of stuff, is I find it's easier if I go and outline it around the edge first and then fill in the middle. That's kind of what works for me, instead of trying to do it the other way and it like looking funny because you're not getting drills to the edge of the shape or the word that you're trying to do. So I just found this kind of works better, and I'm just going to slap it on there. And because it's double-sided adhesive or double-sided tape, it works exactly the same as your diamond painting, which I love. And you just sort of slip it down like that. And I'm just going to go through and try and mix up my darks in with my lights. And I just go straight down here. So I don't have the tape all the way to the edge. This is super duper sticky tape. So I just sort of go down the middle, and then as long as your drill has some tape underneath it, that's all you need. It doesn't have to be perfectly covered. And I'm sorry for the bouncing. So I'm just going to sort of go down there. Then I'll show you how I sort of go, how I fill it in. I just put that one funny, didn't I? And really, it doesn't matter how it looks. Like, it's just going to look good anyway. So this is a great project for, you know, getting the kids involved. You know, you can slap the tape down and they can fill it in with the drills. Great project. Use all these extra bits and pieces up. Okay, so I'm going to continue on, but what I'll show you is I just sort of fill in this bit here. I just kind of go around. I go around the outside and then come in, and I just keep doing lines like that. But, you know, if you want to add your marquees, or you can make it decorative, you can do all different colors in there. It doesn't really matter. And you don't have to actually paint the backing. I do that because it just gives it a more saturated sort of color look. If you didn't want to paint that background, you don't need to paint it. I just sort of do it because I like the effect. And you just kind of fill it in. Oops. Just like so. There. So I'm just going to keep going. So I'm just going to go all the way down and all the way up. And then I'm just going to go until the T is finished. And then I'm going to finish putting the tape onto the O and continue on. So I'm going to keep going, and then I'll see you at the end when I've got it all done, and you can have a look and see how it turned out. So I'm going to keep going, so I'll see you soon. Okay, so what I've done is I have finished doing the yellow. So I'm just doing it color by color at the moment, just so I'm not swapping off back and forward. So that's coming up really, really good. Using up all those drills. You can see I've mixed some of them up, which is fine. So I've done all the yellows, and I'm starting on the purple. So I've done the purple O, and then I've got the E is taped up and ready to go. So I'm just sort of going color by color. It doesn't really matter how you go about it. But that's just kind of what I'm doing. And what I've done is, because of the tape, I was cutting it off like those little bits that overhang. And what I've just decided to do is, because it's they're just like these little areas I can't get the scissors in there, I'm just folding it over onto the sides there, and then when I seal the whole thing, I'll seal all the edges as well, so it's not sticky on the edges. So that's just a little bit easier. And I've also taken off the twine that was knotted on there for you to hang it up. So I've taken that off, and once I've sealed it and everything, I'll put the twine back on again so I can hang it up. But that's where I'm up to at the moment. So it is looking really, really good. Loving how it's turning out. So there's the purple O, and I'm just going to work on the E and the purple I as well, and then I'll probably work on the green next. So that's where I'm up to at the moment, so I'm going to keep going and I'll see you when I'm finished. Okay, so all done. I think this turned out awesome, actually. Much better with the special drills than with the normal ones. I was actually going to originally use normal drills, but I thought, no, needs a bit of extra sparkle on it being a sign. So I'm glad I used all the rhinestones in that. And what I did was I just sort of mixed them up a bit. You can see I've got some light and some dark in with the purple there, and then with the green I just kind of mixed them up a bit in there just to kind of use up those little dribs and drabs. And it is obvious that I have mixed them up, and that's kind of what I was looking for anyway. So I think that turned out really, really good. The bats, I used normal black drills. I actually used the double-sided tape on the bat, and it was very hard to get the edgings done right with that tape, because with these it's sort of straight and I could sort of fold over the excess bits of that double-sided tape, but with the bat I couldn't. It was just really hard for me to sort of get in those grooves and that. So with that one I did the double-sided tape, and then with this one I didn't. So I'll show you what I did with that. But also with the black, when you put the double-sided tape on black, you can actually see it, whereas it was like invisible for the other colors, but this one it showed up quite obvious. So I don't know if you can sort of pick that up on camera, but you can kind of see it's not black in the background, it's kind of like a charcoal gray. That's because of that double-sided tape. So what I did was I continued on with the double-sided tape on that one, and then when I got to this little guy I thought, oh, it's going to be a nightmare trying to get the tape to fit this little guy. So what I ended up doing was using Elmer's glue. So if you haven't used that before, Elmer's glue works really, really well. So if you have like a diamond painting where there's very little adhesive on it, or there's like none at all. I've had diamond paintings where, especially special drill ones, where there's a couple spots that they didn't actually have any adhesive. I just put a blob of Elmer's glue on it, pop the drill on there, and then it dries perfectly clear. So I'll bring this little bat up closer, and you cannot see at all that I used glue. It's perfectly invisible. And because I used the glue, it actually gave it a much better background than with this bat over here. I like them both. Doesn't bother me either way. The only thing is, if you're going to use the glue, you need to use tweezers, and you're going to have to put them on there one by one, and they slip and slide all over the place. But once you sort of get the hang of it, you know, you can slap them down pretty quick. Yeah, so I think that turned out really well, and as you can see, you can't see that glue at all. So there you go, trick or treat. I think that turned out beautifully. So now all I need to do is seal it, because it is a sign and I'm hanging it up. It's going to get dust, fluff, all sorts of bits and pieces stuck in between where those drills are. I will be sealing it, and I just use, this is the sealant that I use for everything. It's my favoritist. A little goes a long way. And it's really, really good. It dries clear, and it retains that sparkle in your drills, which I love. So all I'm going to do with that is, I've got my little paintbrush here, and I'm just going to dunk it in there, and I'm just going to dab it. And just dab the excess off, and that's it. Let it dry overnight, and it's finished. Very easy to use, not very expensive, and it works a treat. So I will seal that, and then I will reattach the hanger there, and then I will hang it up. So that turned out really, really well. Really happy with that. And I love the colors too. I think the colors came up really well. And this little project, what this cost me, what, $2, $2.50 or something like that. Leftover paints cost me nothing, and leftover drills cost me nothing. So very cheap and easy little decoration that I'm going to hang up for Halloween. So that turned out awesome. Yay! I love it. It looks so cool. Excuse me. So there you go. Trick or treat. Nice little idea. Using up your leftover drills. Like I said, you could have gone to town and used all the special shapes in there instead, or mix them up, or you can just do whatever you really want to. It's going to look good regardless. So not only can you do this on trick-or-treat signs, you can do it on any MDF. You can do coasters, you can do placemats, you can do ornaments for the tree. Really, possibilities are endless. But that came up really, really well. So that's my latest project using leftover drills. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will catch you next time. Bye!